Welcome back to part 2 of lesson 7-234. We just completed looking at simplifying algebraic expressions, and these are the notes that we took together. We're going to travel all the way down past all of those things, and we're going to come to the last part, the last portion that we need to take care of. Today we're looking at adding and subtracting linear expressions. The first little bullet point says it's the same as what was learned in 7-1 and above. Also, we're going to use the identity property of multiplication, and this is going to be a multiplication sign right there, to add as many ones as needed to help understand. And remember, we're going to be using the additive inverse on all subtraction signs. All right, let's take a look at number 7. What are we looking at here? Well, we are looking at an addition problem. We have two parentheses, two groups adding together. Now, the additive inverse, or not the additive inverse, the identity property of multiplication says that you can multiply things by 1. So if there's a 1 right here, which there is, and there is a 1 right here, we are going to distribute those two ones into the grouping symbols. And you can see it doesn't change the value. 1 times 3x is 3x, and 1 times 1 is 1. We bring down the plus sign. This plus sign just comes down, and this 1 times this 5x is 5x. Now we have a subtraction sign here, and we do want to use the additive inverse. It's not necessary all the time, and you're going to learn how not to use it soon. Additive inverse, and 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. Bring down this plus sign. Now we're back up to the very beginning of the notes where we add out of order, which is the commutative property. And 3x and 5x together is 8x's. 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. And we can write this better as 8x minus 3. And that is a simplified version. Let's try another. This one you can see is another addition sign. But this one has negative 1/2 out in front. And over here where it has nothing, you know there is a 1. So let's go ahead and start. A negative half times 4r is a negative 2r. A negative half times 8 is a negative 4. We'll bring down this plus sign. We'll bring down this plus sign, and we'll do 1 times negative 2r is negative 2r, and 1 times 7 is 7. We'll bring down this plus sign as well. Okay, now we're going to combine like terms. The negative 2r and negative 2r is negative 4r's. And negative 4 plus 7 is positive 3. Bring down the plus sign. And that is your simplified version. How about another? This one's subtraction though. See the subtraction sign right in the center? This one we have to talk about a little bit deeper. All right, let's go ahead and start inside the parentheses where we can see a subtraction sign here and here. So we'll work inside first. Now this is the long route, and there are shorter ways to do this, and you will come to find those out on your own. So this subtraction sign, we're going to do additive inverse. We'll go down to this other one in this group sign. We'll do additive inverse. And now we want to apply the identity property of multiplication. Remember, there are ones out in front of everywhere. Now when we do that, we have this last little minus sign here. And we're going to use the additive inverse with this one right here and make that a negative 1. Now it's important you do that because you'll see now 1 times 8f is 8f, and 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. We'll bring down that plus sign. We'll bring down this plus sign in the middle. And negative 1 times negative 7f is positive 7f. And negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. We'll bring down that sign as well. Now we're going to join together our f terms. 8f and 7f is 15f's. And negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. We'll bring down the plus sign, and then we can clean this up as 15f minus 4. Remember, This answer is the same as this one because if you used additive inverse here, it would look exactly the same. Number 10, it's another subtraction problem. So let's work inside first with this subtraction sign. So we're going to use additive inverse here, and then we're going to go to this one, and this one, let me show you another way you can do it. First of all, you could add a 1 there. I'm going to erase that 1, and you could go additive. Now it's not inversing right here, it's inversing all of these items in here. So you could make this a negative 5b and a negative 4. Now that sounds complicated, but watch. Negative 6b plus negative 2 plus negative 5b plus negative 4. We add our b terms together to get negative 11b, and negative 2 plus negative 4 is negative 6. We write this better as negative 11b minus 6. All right, we got a lot of room here. Let's rewrite this problem, and let me show you the old way that I had taught you. This is negative 6b minus 2 minus 5b plus 4. That's our original problem. And so remember we talked about adding 1s in front of here because of the identity property multiplication. We also talked about doing additive inverse every time you see a subtraction problem. And since we have a 1 here, I'll do additive inverse just to the negative 1. Now you can see what's happening here. In the beginning, this is 1 times negative 6b, which is negative 6b, and 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Then over here, this negative is distributing the negatives inside here, just as we did up there. So negative 1 times 5b is negative 5b, and negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. We bring down the plus signs. And you can see it's the same as we had up top. This line right here is the same as here. So you can use the way you like. If you have trouble understanding distributing this minus sign right here into all of that, I would suggest using the the identity property of multiplication. So let's try another one. Here we have 1/3 a minus 2/3 b. We can use additive inverse. I'm getting confused here. All right, and then we can go down in the back end here. This is already addition, and this is subtraction. So we can do it either the first way I showed you or the second way. I'm going to revert back to the first way on this one. I'm going to add my 1s everywhere because the identity property of multiplication says anything multiplied by 1 is the same. Now I can use my additive inverse right here and distribute these 1s into the groups. So 1 times 1/3 a is 1/3 a. And 1 times negative 2/3 a is negative 2/3 b. I said a, but I meant b. Then we'll come down here and negative 1 times 1/2 a is negative 1/2 a. And then down to the next one, negative 1 times 3/5 b is negative 3/5 b. We'll put down all the plus signs. And now we're going to combine like terms. So this time I have to do a little work here because I have fractions. Now there are different ways to do this, but we are going to go ahead and commute them. So we're going to bring our 1/3 a here along with the negative 1/2 a here, plus, I'll change colors just so you can see what's happening here. I'll put negative 2/3 b here plus negative 3/5 b here. And now I need to have like terms to be able to add my a terms together. So, but I need like denominators as well. So what denominators 3 and 2 both go into? They both go into 6. So 3 times 2 is 6. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Those are set. Now let's move on to the next ones. 3 and 5. So I need 15 down here. So 3 times 5 is 15, so negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. And 5 times 3 is 15, and negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Now I can add my like terms together. For starters, the a terms 2 6a plus negative 3 6a is negative 1 6a. Plus, we'll do our b's now. They're negatives plus negatives, so I'm going to have more. That's going to be negative 19 15ths b. And now this one's improper, but this one is proper, and we just leave them because they're both in lowest terms. Now, we can write it cleaner though, because we're adding a negative down here. So we're going to write it as negative 1 6a minus 19 15ths b. And the final one, it's a little longer, but I want you to recognize you've been doing this type of style inside here already. It's just once you're done, then you'll distribute the negative 3 to what you simplify in the yellow. Let's try it. We got a lot of subtraction signs here. So we're going to use the additive inverse here, down here, additive inverse, and then we're going to go straight to, oh, I didn't quite do it right. Let me back up. Sorry about that. Hopefully you're writing in pencil. All right, I see it differently now. We have a bracket here and a bracket here, along with a bracket here and a bracket here. Now we have this subtraction sign right in the middle. So now we're going to use additive inverse. Additive inverse here, and then we'll do additive inverse here. Now let's go ahead and work inside this first one. 2 times y is 2y, and 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. I'll bring down that plus sign. I'll keep the brackets here because I have not used them yet. Now let's go down to the end here. This is minus a bracket y plus 1. All right. What did we talk about down here on the end? Well, we have a subtraction sign, and remember, you can use the identity property of multiplication and put a 1 here to help you if you need it. Additive inverse. All right, now we have two distributive properties to do. Let's do them. Negative 3 times 2y is negative 6y, and negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Down here, negative 1 times y is negative y, and negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Now we can combine like terms. Negative 6y and negative y together, remember, there is a 1 here, is negative 7y's, and 6 plus negative 1 is 5. So our answer is negative 7y plus 5. All right, these are pretty intense, but you can come down here. You've already put your name, first name, date, and period, and you're going to go all the way down to this portion down here. There are 9 problems to work on. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to be doing the odds and evens, but I will give you an odd to get going here. Let's take a look at number 11. Number 11 has a couple subtraction signs, so I'm going to go additive inverse here and additive inverse here. It makes it a lot easier. I do know there's a 1 here in the front, but it's not going to change the value of this. So it's going to be 7x plus negative 9 plus negative 2x and negative 12. Now I combine my like terms together to get 5x plus negative 9 plus negative 12 is negative 21. And I'll rewrite it as 5x minus 21. Let's try another. Number 13. This time we have an addition problem here. We have an addition problem here, but inside here we don't. So watch this carefully as I do this. I can put a 1 right here, I can, but I'm going to additive this and inverse all the things that are inside the group. The inverse of negative 2x is positive 2x, and the inverse of 6 is negative 6. Now, I will start here in the beginning. Negative 2x, negative 8, 2x plus negative 6. I'll add my like terms together. Negative 2x and 2x would be 0x, and negative 8 and negative 6 would be negative 14. Now 0 times x, or 0 times entity, that's the 0 property of multiplication, it wipes out the x. And so all that I have left over is just negative 14. How about 15? Let's take a look here. We got a lot of subtraction signs going on here. So I'm going to use the additive inverse right inside both of these, additive inverse and additive inverse. And then watch what I do here. I'm going to take the subtraction sign, and this subtraction sign is subtracting this entire group. I will do additive inverse of 4x is negative 4x, and the inverse of negative 7 is back to a positive 7. Now, I know there's ones out in front, but doesn't change the value inside, so it's 6x plus negative 8 plus negative 4x plus 7. I'll combine like terms. 6x and negative 4x is 2x, and negative 8 plus 7 is negative 1. And then I'll rewrite it cleaner as 2x minus 1. And I got one more example for you, and then you'll get going on the evens. This one we have a bunch of subtraction signs as well. I'm going to use the same method that I just used. Let me go back to it. And here we go. I'm going to do additive inverse here. I'm going to do additive inverse inside. And then I have the subtraction on the outside here. So I'm going to do additive, and that's subtracting. I'm doing the inverse of all of this. So the inverse of 2x is negative 2x, and the inverse of negative 1 is positive 1. All right, let's get started. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. This one has a 1 out in front, but it's positive, so it doesn't change the values. This is negative 2x plus positive 1. Now we'll combine like terms. The negative 2x and negative 2x is negative 4x's, and 18 plus 1 is 19. And that is your simplified answer.